Love-A-Thon, and today what we are going to tackle today is team-centered marriage. Stronger together, team-centered marriage. I've heard people say there's no I in team, but I heard somebody also say there is me in team, M-E. But what about the A-T? There's nothing without being together, coming together, and trying to make sure that all decisions, all thought processes are made together. Now, we thank you much for attendance last week. We're looking forward to seeing everyone today. It's still early, and we still have lower numbers, but from all the continents, from everywhere, we are saying welcome to today's show, and we look forward to giving you a lot of value. So please, I'm telling you to put your pads, your writing pads, bring out your voice recording devices. Please put all the questions down for Frank Talk. That is the question and answers segment of this particular show. And we have to get the ball rolling because we are already behind schedule. Now, I go back to the people of the moment, TeamDinmaNedum, to take us forward today about today's topic, Stronger Together on Team-Centered Marriage. Please take it away.
Wow.
Good evening. It's good to see your faces.
Thank you, everyone, for going live with us.
Good to see you.
Sincerely and deeply appreciate all of you for joining to celebrate our 20 years wedding anniversary. And we so love you all, and we believe we are going to have a wonderful section today. And like we were introduced, the topic that's Stronger Together, Team-Centered Marriage. And here is what we intend to share of how we have continually grew stronger over the 20 years consistently to now. And every year we have been better in our alliance, we have been better in our marriage, and we have been better in our romance, and in every day we have engaged ourselves. What worked? What structured? What system worked? The first important thing is that we defined what marriage means to us, because meanings are very important, and you are going to act based on the meaning you have. The meaning we describe for our marriage is unique to us. Therefore, anyone has to define his own meaning of marriage, irrespective of what you have thought, what you have heard. What is the meaning you are giving to marriage? So there are 5 important articles, or I would say articles of memorandum or understanding, or the deeds or the creeds that are the pillars that is based on how we articulate and reflect and live our marriage. Number 1, we believe that marriage is a covenant. It's a God-given, ordained institution, which is irrevocable, which is longer lasting, and which is for a lifetime. Secondly, we believe that marriage is a partnership, which means that 2 equal consenting adults have agreed to live life together, to bring in all their resources together, temporal and spiritual, financial, everything that pertains to life. We have agreed that we could create, we could distribute, and we could own. And therefore, this forms the center of our shared values, our goals, and vision. Thirdly, we believe that marriage is a sacrament, which implies that our marriage will be a sign of the relationship between Christ and the church. It is a self-giving love with unconditional love and unconquerable goodwill to one another. This implies there are times when we cannot reciprocate in equal measure what we are sacrificing and what we are giving. The other partner will unconditionally step in to carry, if it implies, all the burden that needed to be done without saying, I am not receiving as much as I'm giving. The fourth one is that we believe that our relationship is a synergy, in which means that together, as we combine our resources, as we bring together everything we have, our talents, our abilities, and our capabilities, as we continue to do so, it is greater and far outweighs the sum of us running this race as individuals. Number 5 is mutual benefits. This relationship is not for the benefit of one person. Dinma did not come into the relationship to fulfill purpose for Nedum. Neither do I for her. What we simply imply is that each of us, right before we became married, in our single life, we have had a vision, a mission, something we want to be, something we want to do. So what we are saying invariably is that everybody will be supported. Everybody will have the resources he needs within this institution to flourish, to grow, to maximize his or our potential, to serve God and to serve humanity. So these 5 pillars is the foundation of how we reflect on what we are going to do and keep doing to have stronger team-centered marriage.
Thank you, Nedum, for that. And welcome everyone to day 2 of the Love-A-Thon. And we're excited that you're still here with us on day 2. It's always been our tradition to share our wedding anniversary with everyone so that we can all share experiences together. So when Nedum was talking on marriage being a covenant and a God-ordained institution that we are common, which is one belief that we both hold, it made me remember sometime in the early years of our marriage, I think maybe the first year or second year, but somewhere between the first 2 years. So, you know, I'm a sucker for love now. And one of the things I like is reaffirming the love. But then later, as I grew, I knew it was kind of associated with my attachment style growing up, right? But this, the gist for tonight was that one day I was asking him, we're talking something about the marriage, and I said something, and he said to me, I love God more than I love you, and I am committed to this marriage because of my love for God. My brain that is looking for who will be telling me I love you always, I'm like, oh, so is it that this man did not marry me because he loved me? Because one time whilst we were dating, he was saying something about, oh, looking for a wife and then listening to himself. So I felt a bit dejected because I felt he was just in the relationship with me because God commanded, not because he was feeling anything for me. But as I started to reflect on it, I could link it to one of the pillars of our relationship, that he wasn't saying he didn't love me, but he was saying that he was committed to this relationship because of first his commitment to his God, who we both believe is the third party, is the anchor of our relationship, right? And so that means that for couples, it's important that you both have a shared anchor, a belief, a person, supreme being that you both anchor your relationship on, because that would help you in working together. The second thing I wanted to bring out there was the Bible says that can 2 work together except they agree? And it still comes down to being equally in this moment now yoked. There's something, you know, in the good book we have do not be unequally yoked with unbelievers, and I think that is something that also impacts the team-centered marriage that people are building. And I'd like to just use that metaphor to wrap up my session. So when you look at the concept of yoking, it comes from the typical how animal husbandry, how oxen are used to plow the field. And so the concept of yoking is to carry a wooden beam and attach it on the back of 2 oxen so that they can support themselves in moving together to plow the lawn, right? So I want you to have that image in your mind. So when they are unequally yoked, means that the beam is not strategically placed how it can support them. So both oxen, one is going this direction, the other is going that direction. That's where the concept of yoking comes from. And so from our experience, we've come to realize that the yoke that actually would help couples is when they embody a team-centered mindset that is based on shared values. Because if they don't have shared values, they might just be like those oxen that both parties are moving in different directions and they cannot really define what is success in their relationship. So part of what has also helped us is ensuring that per time we are revalidating our values and ensuring that we have conversations around it and even things that help us to understand and deepen those values. That also means, because we recognize that as much as we are a team, we are also individuals. You know, Nedum was talking, and I remembered when we were dating, I think we've gotten married, or was he dating? And he was, no, when we were dating, and he was asking me, what would you like to do? I've always been a sucker for talking. So I've always known I will end up in people development. And so the young man was saying, for him, he's thinking that, oh, as his wife, he's just maybe start me a supermarket, and then the supermarket will be close to the house, and I'll have time to take care of the children. And I'm looking at this person. I don't know whether you are dreaming of another person, but it cannot be me that you're thinking of supermarket for. Because I know that as a young girl, I tried to sell scarves. I didn't even collect all my money, because people will say, so I knew that trading was not for me, right? But the team-centeredness was him listening to what I wanted to build as my own, because one of the things that I've seen that impacts African homes is where there is this ideology that the woman is coming to help the man fulfill purpose. But we have found out that everybody has a dream. Everybody has something they want to achieve. And when the mandate was given, go into the world, multiply, jump, and have dominion, it wasn't given to man species. It was given to man, the human being. So if we're going to succeed in our marriages, it is for us to continually check in with our partners to ensure that they are living out their individual interest and sense of meaning, whilst we are also living our mutual one. For me, I'll say that I'm grateful for our union, because somehow, by divine orchestration, which is why I say like joke, God brought us together. By divine orchestration, my personal interest and means and what makes life purposeful for me aligns with our shared, ideology. And so whilst we're living the family vision, I'm still living my dream because it ties to what I want to do. And I'm thinking also for the single people that are here and engaged, it's important that you have this conversation as well, so that, you can work together. Another thing in Stronger Together that has really worked for us is us having joint projects. So whilst Nedum is an entrepreneur and also has a business that is running, I do my work, but we have common projects that we do together. And so that helps us to, aside from the family dynamics, work together. And so grow that team mindset, bring your strengths, I bring my strengths, and we do our things together. Again, one thing that I know that has helped us in working together as a team is the signaging, like Nedum said. So because I'm more of the person, so both of us are certified family life practitioners, right? And so we both run our marriage and family related projects. So if it's the Flourishing Together Couples Project, there are sessions that I hold, there are sessions we hold together. If it's the Preparing for Bliss project, we also run it together. But one thing that has also helped us is supporting one another even in your individual project. So there have been times I've been up to create company ideology for Nedum's company. The company is doing something, I'm there. And when I'm having speaking engagements, this young man shows up every time. I know people will be like, does your husband, now, wow, why is he following up and down? But it's because of that mutual sense of exchange in supporting ourselves. And the last thing in our time is, I think one thing that has also helped us in building a team-centered marriage is how we have blended our extended families. Because it makes us to, work with our extended family as a team. My mother cannot come and tell me something and she will expect that Nedum will not hear, because even she'll say, I know, you will soon go and tell him. Or if my husband's family side will not expect that, oh, there's something that is just me and my brother, no. And it's been intentional to do that. And I'll share some of the things we've done intentionally, because I see that we still have time for our session. Some of the things we've done intentionally is we started a family prayer, how will I put it, program, all right? So twice a year, at the mid-year, we just did the one for the mid-year of 2023. And at the end of the year, all the members of my extended family and all the members of Nedum's extended family, we come together to pray, to praise God, to thank God, to celebrate and have testimonies. And I can tell you that when we started this tradition, Nedum and I were the only people from his family, from his side of the family, who were married, right? Yeah. And I think those that were married then, right? And so it was just K1, K2, K3, K4,
no, K3,
right? K3. So every other of our siblings have gotten married and had children, and they have been inducted into that tradition. So it's beautiful to see the signage. So sometimes people say, how do you carry your family along? When I see you people doing together as the Mobi family, as the Okeke family, is admirable. It was because somebody put the intentionality to create that. So we've done that. We've also put together courses for our parents, for their upkeep. Every year now, we've introduced the family party. So every member of the Christopher and Paulina Nwobi family, which is Nedum's extended family, we all come together. I think that has also helped us to be open, to know that we are accepted and our family members respecting our perspectives. Again, it has given us opportunities to also share what we are learning about marriage with them. And so their spouses testify and say, oh, because of marrying your brother or marrying your sister, who is a part of this family, we have learned one thing or the other. Yeah.
Yeah, in addition to that, one of the things that also gives us this sense of belonging and getting bolder, stronger together is our love for learning. And virtually almost all the courses that Dima have attended or I have attended, we attended together or one person go before the other. This eases our conversations. This gives us a depth of knowledge when one person is explaining his idea of work, because I have even an idea of what that person is going. And there was one, she went to USA, that's emotional intelligence. When she came back, I took all the textbooks and started reading on emotional intelligence from one and positive psychology from one end to the other. So even in our normal conversation, when she's sharing the concept, I'm sharing the concept, she's not like wondering what is he saying or what is she saying. You understand the idea of what I have gone through, experience and knowledge, and she can even step in. And there are situations where we have ministered together in churches, in organizations, in retreats and in programs, sharing different type of topic or speaking on the same topics. There are instances where I am invited and due to some circumstance beyond my control, Dima goes in to step there and take that session that was meant for me that I could not attend. So this has been a way we have gotten stronger together. And one of the things we realize is this: where I have strength and where she has a lower strength, she allows me to take the lead and the direction in that area. The same thing occurs to her. When you come to computing, designs, and all that thing, my friend, don't even call me there. Because you just want that project to get stalled. But I just allow, and we allow her to do it, and because we know it will come out so beautifully. So one of the things is that we realize our strengths, our weakness, we realize what we can do together at the same level, and what one person is far, far more better than that, and we submit together to see that happen. And because of that, we have scaled through successfully in the past 20 years, and we are getting stronger and better as the years come.
So the last point before our time is up that I wrote here that I think is important that we also mention is that working together as a team grows with transparency, right? Where somebody is not suspicious of the other, and you know that the other person has the best interest of the team in mind. And one area that can also hamper on team-centered marriage is financial transparency. And I like to share this. I think Nedum talked about that when he spoke the last week, but I just want to bring from my own point of view that when Nedum and I got married, I was still in the university, right? So that was I used to joke with people to say that maybe we will not be celebrating 20th anniversary now, we might be celebrating 15, because I remember those are our visits where after prayer meeting, we go for Nedum to have his dinner and then we'll go back home. So he was asking me, so when do you think you'll be ready for us to get married? My naive, innocent mind that was still in 300 level engineering, I just said, maybe 400 level, in 400 level, I will be home for 6 months for IT. So we can put it around that time. Trust me, I wasn't thinking I was going to be getting married in 400 level. I thought, I don't know, that was just what came to my mind. But lo and behold, this man with his systematic fun brain immediately latched onto that one. By the time I came back for holiday, he was like, oh, I've told my parents, blah, blah, blah. And that's how we're celebrating 20 now. But remember that then I was still in school. I wasn't earning any money. But then something happened. I think it was when we did our wine carrying, and then we had friends give us, envelopes and all that. And Nedum, you had given it to, you gave it to me. So Nedum gave it to me and said I should open an account with it. And by the time we did all of that, back then, it was a lot of money. And so I had a conversation with my friend some months back who knew me in university. And she was saying to me that, she remembers, so back then in 2004, I was the first friend she knew who opened an account with ₦1 million. And I'm like, babe, calm down. But this young man then helped me to even begin to make investments and manage money. And I can tell you that that has helped me in being financially transparent and also for him. And so it's not a question of hiding anything in terms of, because money is one of the biggest cause of quarrels for couples in next to sex and next to issues on parenting. So that for us opened us up to being financially transparent. And every year for the past 20 years that we've been married, at the end of each financial year, Nedum presents his financial records, like the audited account to me, such that we can now plan. And I think for him, maybe you need to speak to that. Me honoring what the family is and what we have chosen to do could have helped you that. Because some people will say, if my wife knows, she will squander the money. Why have you continued over the 20 years to be this financially transparent for us to know what we all have combined and how we can use it?
When I started, we shared what was our creed and the foundation and pillar of our marriage. One of the things is partnership. And I said, in partnership means we own together, we co-own, and we co-create everything we have. So irrespective of who is creating or who is making it, it's a family economy, we own it together. And that has also been the basis of whatever tangibles we have. Nobody is claiming ownership of it. It belongs to us as a family. And one of the things I realized is in being transparent as a family leader or as a man helps every other person to be transparent in dealing things with you. If you begin to show insincerity in what you do, your family members know, your wife knows, your children perhaps will know. And how can they believe you if you don't believe in yourself and believe in what you are doing? However, there might also be some challenges where they are not meeting certain financial expectations. What is necessary is about skill, it's about training. Give them opportunity to go for training, give them opportunity to build skills, give them opportunity to have the required knowledge or relevant knowledge in respect to money, how to manage, how to handle, how to create, and giving them also the opportunity to even practice, even when they are going to make mistakes. Remember, nobody knows who is going to take the next mantle. And that means preparing everybody for the inevitable and also believing that the person or whoever can continue that legacy even to the children and to the grandchildren. And that has to do with leadership, which is very essential, that whatever you expect from everybody within the family, be the first person to demonstrate that value and keep demonstrating it, keep showing it consistently. And before you know it, one after the other, everybody will align with that vision.
And on that note, we'll pause here and pass the mic to our wonderful moderator, Deji. Deji, over to you.
All right, that was a blast. I didn't want that to end because I've heard a lot and so much. And I'm going to recount what I've heard. And if tables are broken, so be it. So there is a memorandum of understanding, and this is telling all of us that we have to plan so that we must not fail. Having a plan on the direction you want your marriage to go is what has helped out a lot in Team DinmaNedum, and these are a couple I admire so much. I always wondered when I met them, you can't hide happiness. They were always so happy. They were always laughing. I was like, these are human beings like I am, like other people are. What really, really makes them tick? And what you heard today so far, definitely that this is why, or this is part of why. So for those who did not join us on time, and those who are still going to join us, let's run through the points. They agreed to do everything together. If you look at it, what disturbs most of us is the fact that we were not considered before a decision was made. Yes, we have dominant partners in marriage, but it should not be that we are all not complete in a particular aspect of life, does not mean that we can still lead. So all we're just asking is consider me. They do everything together. They have joint projects. And this speaks to a key part of marriage, which is experiential intimacy. If you don't bond together through all your activities, may it financial, may it be at play, or what other projects you have, how do you really form a close bond? So that is very, very important. Then their love life, their marriage is a triangle. They have the two of them on a straight line, and they have God right at the top of both of them. Having the same idea about their spirituality is what has counted a lot because already they believe the same things. Is believes the same things that you believe, or if you don't do that, you have already foundations for conflict. It does not matter who or how nice you are or how much you love your spouse. If you do not believe some fundamentals, it might not work. Then they support each other 100%. Support is so that it's so key. And I understood it in a different way today. We hear everything today online, about those who don't even know what they're doing. It has to be 50-50, but it really can't be 50-50 because I've never tried it whereby I just could not give more than 10 or 30%. And I really hope that my spouse was able to cover it for me. But they know already that, look, we just have to let it make 100%. Just give me what you can, and I'll take the rest. And they do it for each other across different aspects of marriage. And my people, that is beautiful. It is key. Then they have the purpose of their marriage right in front of them. They know their why. And when anything wants to rear up, such as a misalignment, once they remind each other of the why they got married, then it is greater than whatever misalignment or conflict they might be holding at the time. To have this MOU is just amazing. Then the marriage is mutually beneficial. I've heard it so many times, and that is what has hurt a lot of people who are separated today or they are hurting in their marriages. I live. I gave 14 years of my life. I gave 10 years of my life. It is because you probably did not sit down and talk ahead. Marriage is a win-win situation. One person's dream must not be put aside. Like I've heard, if something must die in your spouse's life to make you leave. If that happens, then there's something wrong. You have to sit down and sort that out. This is very, very important. Different. I'm assuming we all here have love or we are seeking love. But a lover just listens. That is what they've told us today. Listen to the other person. Once I feel heard, I am happy. Don't even have to do exactly what I say, counsel. But once I feel I'm heard, I am so, so happy. So that is very, very important. All of that. Uh, you always have to foster win-win situations. So when you talk about it, where are your dreams? Where are your dreams? How can we synergize? How can we harmonize each other's dreams? We are both satisfied and we can get exactly what we want out of the family. But one of the very interesting ones I've gotten out today, because being in Nigeria, you know how our families are. From before you get married, they're trying to claim their authority. They're going to stamp things. The mother will come. If it's not this breast that you sucked, if it's not me that gave birth to you, the father comes. I've been a silent sponsor for your education and all of that. And you're going to take your wife's counsel over mine. You know, it's a lot of things when it comes to marriage. But they have come together as one voice and have told their extended members, these are the boundaries. This is what we can give. This we will not do. But we want you to know this so as to know that, yes, we love you, but we put ourselves first, as you have done for yourselves as well. Then we can come together, share ideas, have fun, party together, but this is what we can give. And that part of it is so beautiful. But it is because they bound together early enough to present themselves as one and tell the families, this is what we can offer, this we can allow, these are the boundaries, this is what we can give. Then everybody knows that knowledge is everything. Most of the time, what we think is important today, by evening time is not important. And what we are fighting over today, by tomorrow does not matter. Only one thing changes, is knowledge. What you don't know, you don't know. We are assured of a few things, which is what we think we know, what we don't know that we need to learn, and the things that we don't know. But this team has brought this to us today. And one of the key parts of it is continuous learning. You have to continue to learn. You have to learn the same so that you can keep up and have a proper intellectual intimacy. And the more you grow, the more the family grows, the more the relationship grows. I really cherish this to give great examples to myself and so many of us. And it is just amazing to see what the clockworks are on the inside. Now, they don't micromanage, they trust each other. They allow each other lead. And that is so, so important. to be able to trust somebody else that, okay, I'm not so good yet, but I trust him or her to lead, or I trust him or her to lead, then to teach me, or I can observe them. Having different skills is the best. It's only if you have the mindset of you're in competition that you will not appreciate your spouse being different from you. If you have a team mindset, what they have that you don't have just makes your team all it. And there's nothing better than that. When it comes to this, we can this is what we deploy. When it comes to the other side, that is what we deploy. That is beautiful. I've learned so much from that. And this is that table that we need to shake. We don't like to disclose our accounts. And as it normally goes, the man's money is the family's money, and the wife's money is for the wife. But what Nedum and Dima are telling us today is that no, there's probably a better way to do it. To show and to show growth. Can together know what we earn so that we can plan. Wife knows what they are, vice versa. They cannot demand what they cannot afford. That is just clear. That is crystal. And going forward, I know people are going to say, yes, my husband is a spendthrift. He's a spendthrift. Yes, if that is the case, you can get them education. You can see both Dima and Nedum, who are very marital therapists and coaches, to put you through. They have the experience, and it is also their profession. They can put you through. So you can teach them. Maybe it can be allowed at that time to balance this particular argument. Okay, what do you do when your wife or your husband just spends all the money because you made it available? Yes, that is fine. But if you put that to the side, if you are not willing to declare what you earn, obviously there are skeletons in some cupboards. And if TeamDinma and Nedum are saying trust is key, then you need to examine yourself and examine why you don't want to disclose how much you earn. What if your partner has the talent to multiply what you have? Is it not for the betterment of your family, of your nation? Is it not for the betterment of your children and the purpose of your marriage? Please, let us rethink this. Yes, so money is always an issue. And the ability of that, like most people think, it's not the main cause of problems in marriage. It's actually finances, it's money. So please let us put that in mind. And last but not the least, they've been married together. They listen, and they listen to each other. If you want to really go about it, the authority on your spouse, on how to please your spouse, is your spouse. Ask what you don't understand and listen and do likewise. So we have to get the show going. Like it's been said, please put your questions to the Q&A for Frank Top, although I think I already answered the only question we have, which is the third point. The third point is about support. That's what the third point was. So we, at this point in time, please put your questions in so that we can have them to be answered. Please could you just have what these questions are? I think there's another question in there before we call on our testifier to still the same. Okay, there are no questions. Okay, fine. We keep the show going. We move on to our testifier. Now we have Team Egbo today. That is Gloria and Tony. Team Gloria and Tony, they know Team Nedum and Team Dinma, and they have learned from them. So without wasting their time, please, are you ready? Please, can you signify? Gloria and Tony, please, can the host allow them audio?
Yeah, in. Could you turn your videos on, Tony and Abel, please, so that we can see they're in the room already. Team Able, are you there?
Team Able,
Right,
Gloria, Sonny.
yeah.
Great, great, great. Beautiful. It's good to
Yes,
see your beautiful faces this evening. So,
Wow.
you know this wonderful couple. What do you have to say about them? What have you learned? How have they impacted you? And what can you teach the rest of us about what beautiful things you learned from them? You have the floor.
Wow, it's really amazing being here. I really appreciate you for giving us the privilege to share our testimony about TeamDinmaNedum. Actually, we've known each other I've known those couples before I got married, and that's since 2003. That's over so many years, 20-something years, just to be precise. And then we got married 2008. So this year is going to be 15 years, and they've really done a lot of impact. Actually, they are our mothers and fathers, so in marriage, so they don't joke with our family. So that's why we can't just stop, talking about them. They've really made a lot of impact in our lives. Actually, from that 2008 till today, they are still the people we are looking. They are still the couple we are looking up to them, and people are also looking up to us. There are couples also looking up to us, coming to us also for advice. So we are still their mentees. So really good to have us here with you to celebrate, because the celebration has actually started. So it's been an amazing journey so far. They have impacted our lives. One of the things that actually emanates in this couple is their openness to each other, which we have actually learned. I don't hide anything from my wife, to be honest with you. Every single day I share my story, even as I'm not with her sometimes. I'm always in Lekki now, but each day we speak, we talk, and we talk about our experiences. We talk about what has happened in the day before we go to bed. So that's one of the things, and I think that's another thing that I learned from them, because over the years we have actually, talked about that. And also they started a foundation with us, so I've been following them. So we learn every single day based on what they have actually impacted. So we are actually we are testifiers of what they have done in our lives. So we keep telling the world, and the world, because they're also looking at us, not just we, following what they are doing, but people are also following us, watching us, live together as couples. Like in this area in Alaba, where we are present, so many couples come to us, they ask us, how are we doing this? Our children and everything, we tell them, and we give them, solutions to problems. We make impacts wherever we find ourselves. So it's been an amazing journey. So
all right.
maybe I would also like
Thank
my
you
wife
so
to
much.
say one of the things.
Yeah, I wanted to say something in particular
Yes.
before we go, because we have to go to our guest couple. Can you tell us how him telling you everything, how good it is for you personally, and how good it is for your marriage? I think if other women hear how this is done and what impact it has between both of you, they would really, really, really consider it. Thank you.
Yeah, please, can you rephrase that again? Sorry.
Okay, I would like Gloria to tell everyone how you telling her about, like, I loved that you tell her every single thing. I want her to let us know how good that is for her as a person, how good it is for the marriage, and hearing another wife say definitely will encourage other women to get that out of their husbands, and for husbands also to hear and know that this is one of the best ways to exist in a marriage. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Deji, for this privilege given to me this evening. And I really want to appreciate TeamDinmaNedum for this kind gesture, which I cannot forget in a hurry. Yeah, to my husband telling me everything about him, It has been very healthy for me as a wife, as a mother, and even in the marriage, because it makes me to understand more and deeper of the man I called my husband. You know, his transparency has been a kind of strength in my own weakness, even as a mother and as a child. And each time I see myself coming out stronger and more better, even as a wife. If this man can come out and share, even in his shortcomings and in his progress, in his field of concentration, it also gives me that confidence that, yeah, I am secured in his hands, and he also find confidence in me to have share every of his experiences and daily ongoing, even as a husband to me, is a privilege to me, and I don't take that for granted. Okay, and this our union, by the help of God, this November this year will make us 15 years of our marriage. And I want to quickly say that I am a young lady that got into marriage without understanding the full meaning or what it takes to be a married woman, or what marriage is all about, until I got married to my husband and encountered this wonderful family, TeamDinmaNedum Foundation. We actually began with them. And my greatest testimony, which I always say every time, everywhere I am, whenever their names are mentioned or their pictures are brought before me, I cannot forget that in a hurry. Why? Because after my 2 years of marriage, if I'm not mistaken, yes, I think conception was a kind of struggle for me and my husband then. And, you know, as a young lady whom you are sure of yourself, I didn't live a rough life. My husband is a man that he was into himself. I can say at this opportunity that my husband, I was the first woman in his life. So he didn't play a life that was maybe his past life is bringing complication in our area of conception. And this continued at the time I began to say, God, where is this coming from? Now, I want to tell my viewers and the viewers out there that it was in this foundation of the TeamDinmaNedum Foundation, that was our first gathering with them after our marriage, in their own house there in Festac, that we had a kind of a vigil with them in respect to this, their marriage retreat as well. And I tell you, it was in that program that God prophesied through one of our brothers there, whom God has been using mightily, Brother Chris Obasi, that women, there are 2 women here who has been crying and believing God for the fruit of the womb, and every day their pillows are wet with tears. And before I could realize the prophecy, I found myself rolling on the dining of the TeamDinmaNedum center parlor. I saw myself under anointing, and then I just understand the picture. I don't know what was going on, and lo and behold, that prophecy was made for me. It came true in my life that after that was on July precisely. Then August, September, October, I got to know that I was already pregnant. So I took in for that my baby, which is Antonia Chiamaka Ebo, and that child has been a blessing even to this very moment. The conception of that my child, and even as a child growing up to this very moment, every of her journey has been full of testimonies. Even in our schools, in church, wherever she found herself. And I told God that, yes, I believe that every good thing comes from God. And because the child came from the right channel, that also gave me the morale and a kind of full conviction that we have not made the wrong choice. You know, coming in contact with TeamDinmaNedum has been a huge blessing for us as couples and as family. And I want to tell you, when I get married to my husband, I am this shy type that I'm so introvert to the core. So I don't like anything outing or where I will be exposed to some group of people. But through my marriage with my husband, in a encounter with Nedum in their annual retreat about their marriage, bring the true picture of who I am out in me as a lady. And I want to tell you as well, the first year we started, there was a retreat we had with them, and they shared this book to every couples that came for that, we like only retreat now, this moment together for couples by Dennis and Barbara Rennie. You know, we took this book home, And as couples, then we bring our unity we bring our togetherness with every genuine meaning. You know, we began to complete that devotional attitude even as spouse then. And when our children were coming in, we also invite them. And this book has been the foundation of our family routine till today, even to this very morning, where we call all our children, bring them together, read a portion of the Bible, tell us how it's affected you, what you understand about them, and you see them flow. They share their views, they share their understanding, and what they have learned from the passion of the Bible or books that we do give them something to read and tell us about. All these things emanate from this book that we read as couple. So I have huge testimonies. One thing about the TeamDinmaNedum is the intentionality that I have stolen from them. And I am living it out intentionally, making myself so happy, and the happiness, no bad, because this is from the foundation and I'm enjoying it. Thank you.
That was absolutely profound. I have nothing more to add. So, ladies and gentlemen, reintroducing TeamDinmaNedum. They are human beings just like you, but maybe they have a little bit extra. They have the best book club available. So look out for the recommendations. Look for the Queen of Happy Five on YouTube to get your recommendations over there. There are so many wonderful videos over there. They might also just be divine. I thought K1 to K4 were the only wonderful children in Lagos State, despite all this mess we have in Lagos State. But then someone goes to their house, rolls on the table, has a very wonderful child. So they are divine, great book club. They give you great advice. They're going to show direction. They are very experienced, over 20 years of marriage. And apart from that, they are marital therapists and counselors. So please, please, please pay attention, reach out to them and get your own bundle of joy, your own happiness, or whatever you can from these two today. So we have to roll on quickly. We have a treat for you. We have another couple today to come on the show, which my people will be introducing to you. 20 years of marriage as well. Last year, one of the realest people I've met, apart from these two beautiful people I'm looking at right now. So please introduce them. Let's get this show going and push them forward.
Thank you so much, Deji. Thank you so much, Team Able. Let's just move on. I actually did shed a tear when Gloria was speaking, because honestly, sometimes we forget the journey we have been through. Yeah. I can't tell you that I still have a conscious knowing of that miracle that happened in their life until she shared it. And I'm like, oh, that's true. And we're celebrating it for years. So I thank you for always being there. And one thing I want to say about Team Able before we move on is, over the years in their marriage, when they are celebrating their wedding, so they are our mentors, right? Mentees. Yes. When they are celebrating their wedding anniversary, they intentionally book a date with us and come and spend a full day with us during the week of their wedding anniversary. And what they are doing at that time, sometimes we give them assessments to take to review their marriage. Sometimes we share some tools with them, but they have consistently done that by checking in our schedule and booking a day with us for part of their wedding anniversary celebration. And I can tell you the benefits are showing in their lives. So thank you, Team Able. So over to the power couple that is coming to meet us. So I don't know how to do this introduction because they just wanted me. If I do the introduction how I want to do the introduction, I'm sure that you will send me signal that we're running out of time. But I am most pleased with my husband that we have one of the couples that we jointly admire to be with us today. So we met, the first time we encountered Team Eleshi was through NLP, meeting the domestic goddess. In my mind, I'm like, how person could they call herself domestic goddess? Hey, I need to understand what is happening here. And so over the years that we followed them, we came to realize that We have so much in common. 20 years marriage, Nedum turning 50 this year, Tundi turning 50 this year. Some ideologies we have about, I think they should come.
Buy one for me.
Let me add them to spotlight as I'm introducing them. Where are these people in my spotlight? So you should be going off. Yeah. Okay, so who are you seeing? I'm supposed to be seeing only Timeleshi and also, but let me put Timeleshi first and spotlight them, because I need people to understand that after today, if you don't follow anybody, please go and look for Bridget and Tundi's handle. And so we started to notice that we share a lot in common, shared ideology, but one thing that has always stood out and I is the fact that unapologetic for me.
No, did you?
First team, I started to hear
She was calling.
Is Team Election. I'm like, okay, this team thing we have been doing in our corner. There are some people that have taken ownership and are carrying the team-centered marriage in their head. And then again, realizing that they are unapologetical about their Christian ideology around marriage. And that is one thing that we deeply appreciate. So today, people join me to welcome. Then again, one of the years, Bridget reached out to me, oh, we want to attend the couples weekend getaway. And that was where Tunde was renamed Tundi. So when they say
I accept the name.
It's not me, it's Team Adiwe that added the E there. Men and brethren, join us in welcoming Team Eleshi, Bridget, and Tundi. If there's any couple that I know that has embraced team-centered marriage, even how Nedum and I try to practice it every day, I would say it is Team Eleshi. And there is no other couple who would have invited on this topic, because every couple we invited for every topic was prayerfully and intentionally chosen. So welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you, and happy anniversary.
Happy 20th.
20th, yes, 26.
We have reached, no, we have not reached.
We passed the baton.
20th. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
My brother,
we
sister,
celebrate you and my brother. Indeed, I call Mr. Nedum my brother, because apart from knowing Dimma as my sister, we've had NLP too. Interestingly, we had our NLP. We're just like 4 or 5 in the class. So we had no time to bond. And man, the guy's spirituality wowed me, because you know it is that this guy is not Pentecostal. He's proudly Catholic, and their spirituality is on another level.
It's deep. Well
so
done,
thank you, sir. I truly honor you. And Dimma, thank you for all that you do. We call them the king and queen of happiness. And every time we see you, we're happy to know that you guys are just doing life intentionally. So Deji, thank you so much. Thank you for the call. We had some conversations today. So this is us, Team Eleshi, Tunde, and Bridget.
We are honored to be part of this.
Celebration.
We honor you, sir, man. God bless you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well done. Okay, so we get to Frank Talk, which is the question and the answer segment of this show. But before we go ahead, one thing that I can see from these two wonderful couples is when I first met Dima Owobi, it was a little bit, it was a joy to see a woman in a particular space and own that space. But she didn't own the space by virtue of competence. She owned that space by virtue of comfort. She loved what she was doing. She was happy. She played like a child. On our floor, that is the only person that I would know that comfortably say, Congo shining. And everybody just laughs right. It's not even filthy, because this is where it should be mentioned. But that is how much joy she derives from her life. and obviously for my marriage. Now, there is no how we can talk about marriages in Nigeria without considering the cultural and the religious. We have in our space very dominant men. The women almost cannot breathe. I'm not saying that that is the only case. At times we have very dominant women too, but it takes a special man to see her in her element, and it takes another special man to see Madame Bridget also in her element. So I wondered about the men naturally. I always assumed that I was one of the least toxic and most good-natured man around because, yes, I'm special like that. Just take my word for it. But these women made me know that, wow, there are men I can still learn from. And that is the point. Like you heard earlier, they'll always take a day out to go and spend with Team Owobi anytime Team Ego has their wedding anniversary. Nobody has this knowledge. So what you do is you look for people who know it more than you do, because we all need to be taught. So I looked at them. My brother, they're doing awesome. My brother here today, I've not even met him. He's from a distance, but I've observed him. He's always quiet. He's always gentle. Until I was told that, oh, that is because a message or a situation he's passionate about was not put on the floor, or you will see in a real flow. And I'm still waiting to observe that moment. But on the other end, for my sister, she's a firecracker. I love it when someone can tell it exactly how it is with no pretenses and with a realness that you can know that this is coming from heart. And I'm so happy that these two are here today with all the experiences, both professionally and also in marriage years. So I'm taking the button to ask the first question. I'm using my rights as the moderator today.
No
now,
problem.
a lot of people I've spoken to, and both of you are going to answer that question, both Team Election and both Team Wobi as well. People are kind of afraid to have this kind of a marriage whereby they see their husband or their spouse all of the time. They're going to be like, oh, I'm going to be bored. How can we see each other all the time? We will get on each other's path. We'll do this, but I'm seeing you guys stay at home together, teach together, work together, holiday together, and that is grand. How is it possible to do that for this amount of years without getting on each other's stuff?
Okay.
Who goes first?
Go first.
No, okay. So it's not that we don't get on each other's nerves, though. I want to state that.
Okay.
I want to state that
All right.
very clearly, because we're two different. You will constantly see differently. But I'm very sure if you play football, Man U or Man City that just won, I'm sure the team players they see differently. They don't agree with what the coach is saying, but they don't forget they have to win. They don't forget that they have to win. So that's the perspective. You forget that we don't forget that we're on the same team. Last week we run, my wife and I, we had this, we run a group called Complete Family, and we had a prayer meeting. And just shortly before prayer meeting, we were now discussing what prayer point, and we had an argument what we should pray for. I mean, we couldn't reach a landing. What we should pray for? She was saying, I said, and then I just paused. Okay, let's pray. Lord, please have your way in this thing. And at the end of the meeting, people were saying, well done, well done. I had to say, if they knew that we had an argument before the meeting to see differently. So that was what I thought I said it, that you must, your individuality comes to the table, but you see the teamness as strength.
Yeah.
You don't throw away your individuality. No. Your individuality comes to the table, and both of you drive in the same direction. Okay, so Bieleche, how have we been doing it?
I think we've managed to, like he said, maximize our strengths and minimize our weaknesses. Okay, so we have, Tunde has strength that I don't have, and I have strength that he does not have. So for us, it's just maximizing it. And one thing we must know as couples is this, you know, we have 24 hours in a day. So maybe you sleep 5 or 6, 8 hours. Then the remaining hours you spend with yourself or you go to work. So the real time you both have is not so much. If you really look at it, it's not so much. So when you meet, it should be quality over quantity. So that you are not spending time together, you've not seen, and then you are fighting. We fight, even if we fight, it's from a place of, yes, we see differently, but how can we make it work? So we're intentional. So if I'm sleeping 5, 8 hours, remove the other time of being alone, and then Tunde comes back from work and it's just 4 hours left before he goes to bed. And we use that 4 hours to start giving ourselves drama. Don't you know that we won't live very long?
Yeah.
So the best thing is to make use of that few hours. So even if we're doing something, we just catch up. What do we need to do together? What discussions do we need to have? How do we need to make progress together? So that helps us. So whether we fight, I tell people my analogy, and which we've adopted, is marriage is like the tongue and the teeth. They will quarrel. They will get on each other's nerves, but they need each other. So we need each other. And so we have learned over time to maximize our strengths and minimize our weaknesses. I think that's how it has worked for us.
Wonderful. This is profound. Quickly, Timothy, same question.
Yeah, so, you know, like they say, familiarity breeds contempt. But I think it's familiarity that does not have a purpose. Because sometimes I like to always remind people, not every quote you hear is empowering, right? However, so for us mainly, and I like what Bridget said, the time you spend, because when people say people are always together, when is the time that you are together? We do our work. So that little time is recognizing that. I think it was, I can't remember the man's name, one name that says, if you say you don't have time for something, that means you don't care about that thing. So it's not only children that love is felt time. Irrespective of your love language, spending time with somebody you cherish, somebody you love, somebody that makes you feel seen and feel heard is one of the pleasures of life. So again, I think it also boils down to that intentionality. First of all, what makes it easy for us is because we are friends and we have continued to nurture friendship. The second thing that I think makes it easy for us is that deep down in our consciousness, we know that, so Nedum likes to put it this way, he'll say that you are not blameless, but fault. There's a way he talks about it. I know that you are a human being, so you can make mistakes, but I know that you did not make it out of a premeditated, conscious, deliberate act to do it. It's just your humanness that is showing. So once you know that your partner has the best interest of this marriage, but the human weakness will come in, you don't hold on to things so strongly, because one of the things why couples stay apart is unresolved trauma and not really giving your partner that opportunity to express themselves. So for us, we express. I think I shared you somewhere to say that there was one day, the atmosphere was looking lovely. You know how the atmosphere is like he's preparing to enter the other room. And this man now did something. My brain, I'm like, maybe if I bring it up now, it will scatter the other room activities. But I was really in the mood for the other room activities. But I now said to myself, no, I'm not going to keep quiet because I want other room. I'm going to talk about what I want to talk, but I will ensure that I talk about it in the most non-confrontational, just expressing myself and not blaming you. And I talked about it, and the other room activity still happened. I mean, so I think we try to adopt this thing from Team Eleshi, but we do not fully practice it. But I always like to tell it to anybody I meet. So I think it was one day I was listening to Bridget, and she was talking about them adopting June 14th. as their date night because that is the day of the anniversary. And I'm like, that's spot on. I said, oh God, should we adopt July 26th? He said, let's be taking baby steps. I just knew that I was not ready to make a full commitment to that day. But what has helped us is having, like, my mother said we like staying in the room because we're always talking. So it's just talk. Once you're talking with somebody and it's flowing, you want to be with the person. Then have occasional dates. Take time out of the house, at least once a quarter, so that there's some newness. And if you can afford it, take a retreat once. That's going. First of all, make sure that you're listening to yourselves. If you're listening to yourself, the person gets you to say, I want to spend time.
Okay, quickly, I think what has helped us to minimize conflict and resolve it very, very well is a long-time vision and breaking into goals. One thing that we always disagree on is methodology.
I think their network is cracking. Am I right?
I think it's back. They're frozen. I can't hear them.
Yeah.
Tim. Okay, yeah, I think they've exited right now.
I'm sure.
They'll soon be back. We need our great hosts on the show. Okay, fine, great. To recap, first of all, it's not possible not to fight. Only dead people do not fight. So you fight, but you know that you have to win. So you always have to make up. And we've also learned that friendship is the foundation of a very good marriage. I mean, everybody has that friend that you are so close to that even when they offend you, you are the first person to say, bring your big girl, you know I'm missing you and stuff. So please develop great friendship, because it turns out that most of us are not friends with our spouses, but we can be very friendly with our co-workers, colleagues, and so on. So please make sure that you are great friends with your spouse. Also, intentionality comes into it. You know your why for your marriage, and you know the reason why there's a misalignment at the meantime. Okay, I don't have another room in my house, and I don't know what my marital seniors are saying about the other room. It's just the one room in my own place for me and my wife. So I can't say too much about that. While we are still waiting for them to go on, I think we can also, and this would not have a recording, this is a problem because we want everything recorded. Please, the host, if you can help us get
you're not the host. I think you are not the host.
Okay, I'm now the host, right?
I think
okay,
so
I have to click okay, but I can't record it for particular reasons. Because I think, yes, I am now the host. Okay, but the show goes on, and we hope they join us very shortly. One other thing that, okay, we should go to the next question, like, yes. The next question.
I think they are back.
Okay, I think they're back.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, they are back. They're back.
They are back.
yes
They are back. Welcome back.
Timmy, we try to slow down to get you back so that my brother can finish what he was saying.
Yeah.
Please go ahead.
Okay, like I said, we struggle most times with methodology, which means how do we, what are the, how will I put it? What are the ways we want to apply to reach our goals and our mission? And because of our temperament differences and our personality difference, there's always a clash between how I reason and how she reasons. But one thing is very instructive. Over years, by continually to discover ourselves, try to know ourselves better, I have also been able to know how she thinks and feels in certain issues, likewise mine. So over time, the timeline of our disagreements are very, very short, very, very short. So sometimes 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes is resolved already, because we can really feel each other's energy and know why each other is disagreeing and just ratify it very, very quickly. So every moment, every day, we have little disagreement, but we're able to catch up because of what we believe that binds us together. And that is very, very a wonderful skill that is working for us. Yeah.
Okay. So there you have it, people. It is not flight. It's not fight. It is another variant of an F, which is just calm down, talk about it gently, and it can go away in minutes. And that F can be friendship. While you were away, I told them about all of us having friends that even when they offend us, when they want to say, come back. You know, I miss you. Why did you do that? So friendship is the base for a great marriage. So it's not flight, it's not fight, it is friendship. Let's add that to it. Now, apart from that, we learned from Timaleshi that winning is important. So we have to win. That is why we're here. We are a team. We must win. There is no I in team. Even some say there is me in team. So to push this on quickly, we have to answer the questions faster. Maybe just one thing will take each question from now on, and we have to push on. Now, the next question, I'm going to paraphrase because this question also is one I wanted to ask. I'm a Yoruba man from a proper Yoruba family, which means that most of the time, our ancestry is mixed. We have mixed religions in them. I'm from a descent of part Muslim and part Christian family. And the way we handle religion in the country, like the world has become because of the lack of love, is division. Most people don't understand how to handle a lot of things. Rather than understand or accept, they just go straight to division. So the question here from Monsieur Fandi is that now he has said that for King Egbo, one of the beauties of them is that they are in the same denomination of Christianity with God at the top of their triangle of their marriage. Now, in the case whereby we have a Muslim and the Christians, because the Christians these days, after a proper and critical thinking, sharing in life with somebody that believes the same thing you believe, means that they are marrying themselves and not marrying people from another religion, especially Islam, which is the main other religion that we have in here. And we definitely tolerate all religions. That is the kind of love God wants us to have. Now, I know there's a place for spiritual intimacy, which is that you can have a different concept about your God, your creator, but yet it does not separate you. So in the case of having two people of Islamic and Christian backgrounds coming together, how do you advise that they proceed? What advice would you give to them? Is it for them to go the separate ways and not worry about it at all? Or if they can sit down, plan, know their purpose and their why far ahead of time and consider all what the excesses can be, can they make something beautiful out of a two-religion marriage? Timmy Wobi, please take this from me.
Okay, so thank you for that. I love that question that is coming in. Can you hear me?
Yes, yeah,
we can. Please, I can hear you.
We can hear you. Go ahead.
So when we started, I was talking about the concept of not being unequally yoked with unbelievers. And I recognize that spiritual intimacy is important in building a marriage. So Nedum and I shared our unique story because having God at the center of our marriage, and gratefully because we also dying to similar religious beliefs, has helped us greatly in our marriage. So I cannot even discountenance that. However, we also know that there are people from different religious backgrounds that have successfully built thriving marriages. So why I talked about do not be unequally yoked with unbelievers is that sometimes we just limit the concept of unbelievers to probably religion aspect of it. Beyond that, it is also talking about somebody who believes what you believe. So aside from your religious beliefs, what are your shared beliefs about what marriage is? Because if you have a joint meaning of marriage, you can also apply that to it. The concept also of not being unequally yoked with unbelievers also speaks to somebody you have some shared values with. a common ideology of life, because we all know in our neighborhoods, people who also have similar spiritual beliefs, but their marriage is not working. Whilst there are also people who do not also share similar beliefs and their marriage is working. So you now need to know what is the difference. The difference is in having shared values, having shared beliefs as regards marriage and life, and also applying all of these principles we've been talking about today, where they both have a team-centered spirit, they are working together, they are listening to each other, they are, resolving conflicts amicably. I think with all of that, even when they have differing spirituality, can also impact their marriage. However, I have a caveat to put to that. That means that if you're going into that marriage, you must come to a sense of radical self-acceptance that you differ when it comes to religious beliefs, because that has also been a problem where, for example, a Muslim and a Christian marry and somebody is insisting, oh, maybe because I'm the man, the children will have to go with me to whichever is my religious whatever. Or you must also come to a radical self-acceptance that if I'm going to be praying the way I pray in my own religious understanding, this other person, I must also give the person allowance to worship his God in his own way. If you can't bring yourself to that acceptance, maybe you should not venture into that marriage, because that would also be something that can bring up conflicts.
Okay, that is great. My brother, can you tell us how the children would survive in this kind of a marriage? What religion do they follow?
Okay, these are some of the things they need to discuss prior to the relationship. They must agree in certain terms and what their parenting role should be, what their faith formation should be for the children, what their religious affiliations should be, and what should be tolerated and what should not be tolerated. Without prior discussion and understanding and tolerance, it could be a very huge factor that will disintegrate the relationship and break down the marriage. So it is not about saying, the family belongs to me or the other. Did you discuss how these things should be or follow through? And if you have that discussion early and be truthful to yourself that these things will bring to the table, we are not going to shy away from it because it's an important factor. We need to respect each other and amicably agree on how this will happen. But truthfully, one thing is very, very important that I always find in those who have different faith and have lived wonderful marriage relationship. They work on the things that will work for them and minimize what wouldn't work. And that tolerance and commitment to put their energy in what they have agreed mutually and what they can't strongly affirm to help them to focus on their strength. And that has really worked. So I just say, let there be a pure discussion, a conversation around it, and ensure they agree on the method and formation that faith should be in their relationship.
Okay, that is great. Thank you so much. So, Olayinka Jalano, okay, we asked the same question, which is how did they manage conflicts in the 20 years of marriage that have been answered? So we go to Anuri Obiajuku. Please, when did you start being intentional about your marriage? Or is it that one of you was aware of being intentional before marriage? Simulation, over to you. When did you start being intentional? Someone wants to know that. Have you always been this way, or did you just get in there later on?
I mean, you can't just get. We have to be intentional along the road.
Okay.
Marriages are under attack everywhere, sir. I mean, it's no more. I tell my wife every time, because you see bad example doesn't mean we should be bad example. Because we have a lot of bad examples. But we didn't start like that. Interestingly, we didn't start like that, sir. Just 2 years after our wedding, we went for a seminar with a friend.
It was just
like this. and in the middle of it, they asked which of you wished you didn't get married to your partner. And you believe it, and my wife lifted up her hand. She lifted up her hand. She was frustrated with me because I thought my wife would be like my mom. My mom is quiet. My wife is full of, and if you guys, I don't know you, my wife is full of
action and energy.
Yeah, energy. So it didn't. We had to sit down. I think it was 80 during our 8 years, isn't it? It was the 8 year of our wedding.
Yeah. But before then, let me put it this way.
Yeah.
I knew what I wanted out of marriage. You knew what you wanted out of marriage from the get-go. Before we even got together, that we were going to enjoy our marriage. We talked about several things. Because for some people, if you're single listening to us, same thing I think Mr. Nedum and Dima did. I had a picture of what I wanted. Like I always tell people, I had this fourth dimension that I read by Paul Yonggi Chu. And before then, I had read quite a number of books, spiritual. I was already thinking ministry-wise before I got married. So it was very important that I married somebody that will not be seeing me as a competition or want to kill my ministry in quotes. So that was the intentionality for me. So seeing both of us, yes, he too had a picture of what he wanted as a wife. I always tell people, he didn't propose like every other person. He said, oh, this is where I'm going to. This is, where do you see yourself? So he didn't propose like all those sweet talks and raps and no.
God,
so I would say it was more intentional when it comes to all of those things. But the day to day, yes, because if you said like that, we were not intentional. You think we just we're in love and we got married. Exactly, that wasn't it.
But we have to be more intentional.
Till now, we are still more intentional.
Oh yes,
20 years now we are
more intentional.
We are writing our script again.
Yeah.
To say. Now it's a new beginning. How do we manage?
Yeah.
How do we write the next 10 years? Because we wrote 10 years goal that will expire in 2 years' time. How do we rewrite the next 10 years?
Yeah.
Okay. So we did start by saying, okay, we're going to be like this. But we knew what we wanted.
So don't forget, Man City, when they played that, forgive me, I'm not a football fan.
He's not, that's why I've been laughing whenever he's using football. But he's not a sports
am I right? When they played that match, they were playing to win. Am I right?
Yeah.
They played with intentionality. So anytime they didn't do very well, they went back to the drawing board. So that is the intentionality that we constantly ask ourselves, what do we need to tweak? What is not working? What do we need to drop away? What is no more on the syllabus we need to throw away?
Can two work together except they agree? If you are not in agreement and you are not intentional, you can't do it. So we didn't start being so super intentional, but we had it in mind. I didn't want to get married and be fighting and every day eating breakfast as if I'm slicing onions. That was not my idea of marriage.
Breakfast.
Yes, so the real breakfast of broken hearts.
No.
I don't know if this is frozen or if it's,
Oh gosh, they've gone up again.
Okay, that is beautiful. I have not heard about having breakfast being used in this context, but this is nice. So okay, we got that. So you heard it from the horse's mouth. Intentionality starts from day one. Don't be a Lagosian and say, and they ask you why you're running. You're like, oh, I saw those other people to run it, so I ran. You have to always make up your mind and know the reason before you take your action. If you are not planning, it's a cliche. If you are not planning, then you want to fail. I can just imagine telling my wife something. I'm like, look, Man City. Hello, we can hear you, ma.
Say something because when
please go.
Tunde did not propose in the typical way, I'm like, we need to do a survey. Maybe Deji, as a family life practitioner, please do a survey of men born in 1973.
Can you say that brother and I we committed our sin?
Yes, sir.
We committed the sin, okay.
Proposal. Is owing me a proposal because all this one people are discussing. How do we not start life? I don't understand.
We are spiritual men. We
And so for we were also talked about the intentionality with which we started our marriage. So maybe for the person asking, we would also broadcast the link for the replay so that we don't keep talking about what we've already talked about.
Yeah.
Last week was just talking about intentionality, what we did prior to marriage and how we were intentional. So you might want to watch the replay to catch up on that.
All I can say is I was not born in 1973, but I'm going to build my brothers out. The two women sitting down here claim authenticity. They love authenticity and authentic people. Now, people who are authentic don't do what everybody else is doing. The proposal is a Caucasian's way of those things, and that's a grand gesture. The people that propose in front of the whole world, the marriage is probably not working right now. But a man that came and said, "This is my journey. Do you want to go with me?" Those people that got British proposals, but no plans, they want your husband. Please, don't forget that. Originality. They were original. You cannot blame them. Thank you for that smile, sir. I love that smile. You're feeling me. Good. So, sir, my brother today, I would try and win arguments with my wife. Why I move the car? No, I'm not going to move the car. Why Man City? So, the next one that we go on to, I'm on my own. So the next one is a comment from Chineye Uwabi to Gloria Egbodao. It's just a comment, no skill or intentionality. So please leave some intentionality for others to enjoy. So from Francesca Vincent, this is one of the questions that I actually wanted to ask. It's a great question. Whereby you're still struggling with your financial issue in your marriage, but the extended family wholeheartedly depends on the husband. And this is quite annoying. Please, how do you handle that? Timowobi.
Okay, I feel your concern and why you are also asking that question, because I can also understand how that happened, because I am the first son or first child of 9. So I can actually be what in your shoes or what that means. But one of the things that I think are very, very important is to understand the concept of budgeting. Everybody will keep demanding if you don't have a budget that streamlines what you have and what you can spend per time. What you have and what you can spend per time. You can't solve everybody's problem, even including your problem. So if you can't specify how you can spend for each and everyone that demands money from you, and why that is also important for such people, which I mean, what are they even asking for? Sometimes people are asking for what they shouldn't be asking you for. If a person is asking you for a rent, where can that person afford why he can take care of his rent? If the person is asking you for your children's school fees, where can they afford? If the person is planning for wedding, your relationship, some of the and then you must say this is not a your wedding and it's a plan on that. And it's
the GZ only me breaking.
Yeah, they are breaking up. Timowobi, can you hear us clearly? You are breaking up.
Yes.
Hello, Timowobi.
Oh my gosh, they've gone off.
They left. Okay, went off again. Okay, so what I think I'm hearing is that you must seek out the boundaries, discuss with yourself, and cut your coats according to your own sizes. It is good to give, but if you have an item and somebody asks you for them, yeah, faith comes into it at times, but you also have to think. If you give away what you're supposed to be for you, then it might be your fault if nobody now shows the same faith that you have, that you've had, or that you've given to someone else. So please, that is why you just have to consult with each other. That is the beauty of being in a team. You have to run everything by each other. Okay, the back. Please go ahead, Tim Mobi. Can you round it up?
They are not be realistic about their
Yeah.
expectation and also what your budget will actually accommodate. Remember, you have a life, you have a family to live, and that will help you put everybody in perspective. Be willing to get people annoyed. Yes, be willing to get people annoyed. Be willing to be disliked. Be willing to able to absorb pressure of what you cannot afford. Not that you don't have the money, but at that moment, and if you have a financial plan for your family, you are also setting aside money for investment and for tomorrow planning. You can't spend that money because somebody is pressurizing you of something that can be avoided.
Okay, everybody, you heard that. We don't hate our extended family members, but if we need money, it might not make sense to give it out to somebody else because everybody else has their own struggles, and I don't think anybody is going out of their way to do something so nice for you. So please take care of yours and your own first.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Please go ahead.
Back. Let me say this. I say this all the time. There's the person that has blood that can donate blood. Okay. If you're struggling. My pastor, remember then he used to teach and he says, you are in a pit. If you are not out of the pit, you can't drag others out of the pit. So if you are in a financial pit, you cannot help others when you are not even getting help yourself. So you have to be totally out or be financially stable to an extent to help others. We're not saying be selfish. No, we're not saying be selfish, but wisdom demands that you know that you cannot give what you don't have. So let's always understand, yes, family issues will always be there. There will always be people that will, in the world, be poor. But sometimes nobody knows what you are going through too. Nobody knows what you have and don't have. People just assume that because you are driving a fine car, you live in a big house or something, you have money. Sometimes you do not even have cash to even feed your own self. So it depends on how far you've gone with your own financial planning. We, as a team, we always make sure that every month we have money set aside for our parents and maybe for extra giving. It's something we've done over time because we need to take care of our own. Okay? So if we are done with, I'm the emotional giver. My husband is not so emotional about giving. He plans his giving and he gives like that. I'm the one that people can come with sub stories to, and I'm like, oh, I need to do this and that. So it helps when you know the spender and the saver, and then you both work on your financial, your family finance together so that you know how to give. Because I've seen families that people will go to, meet the man separately, will give, meet the woman separately, will give. One family will give to one person more than the normal because they are not a team. So when you do it as a team, the person comes to ask you, oh, let me consult with my husband, I'll get back to you. Comes to me, oh, let me consult with my wife. You know, like that, I'll get back to your husband, I'll get back to you. When you consult with each other, you're able to say, okay, I'm helping you with this. And the sum might even be bigger than, because when you do it together, it comes back bigger together. They're back.
You can unmute yourself.
Yeah, already answering the question now. So go ahead.
Okay.
Maybe the network wanted to hear to this voice. I don't know which one is carrying us.
No, I was just
All right, I'll just draw conclusions from both teams because it's the same salient point, but the fact is there. Learn how to say no, know the boundaries. You are the ones that can help yourself, so you cannot sacrifice what you have for another. And when things are done together, no one can come between you. It even affects parenting, whereby a child can come to one parent and go to the other to get what they want. So if a couple comes as one, nobody, either their children or from external sources, can come between them, and one helps the other one balance out. So we go quickly to the next one. This is Patricia Inweremuzo. Please, I'm a Yoruba man pronouncing Igbo names. Forgive me. You mentioned that every marriage has a peculiar case. What is the best way to overcome it? You did not put a particular answer, ma'am, so there is no answer question, so no answer that we can give, except, please, these two teams are very, very versed marital coaches. Please reach out to them personally and they will help you with why. How do you build, this is an anonymous person, okay. How do you build a team when your partner continuously disagrees with your views? He would rather tell, is a he. I knew it was going to be a he. He would rather tell you to do whatever you desire to do and not bother him. At times I feel ashamed to be a man, but nah, I know that there are so many good men out there, so I'm not going to mind. So, Simulation, please can you take this question for us? How do you build a team when your partner continuously disagrees with your views? He would rather tell you to do what you desire and not bothering. This is actually sad.
Yeah, and so this talks more. It could be part of our cultural biasness that people think that the lady should not be heard or her views are, and it could be vice versa. Please, it could be vice versa. She might think she's superior to him because she's well learned, or she's, or he might be, and over time they build distrust. So what critically, what I really want to ask is, you need to go back and why did you enter this relationship? What is your why? Why are you on this journey? Okay, that is so important. But my wife and I were in a meeting just after COVID, and somebody was talking like this in the seminar. God bless her, and she quoted a place in the Bible that says, one chases a thousand, two put 10,000 to flight. Is there any time you're not working with your partner, you are leaving 9,000 on the table? So I repeat myself. One has capacity figuratively to chase 1,000. When you work together, not necessarily that you are in that same space, but you are carrying, you've gotten our feedback, your input. I had a mentorship session with I have an engineering space somewhere, and I had to talk to somebody, and I just asked my wife a question on some topics, and she went Google, and she gave me answers. Even me, I was surprised. So I found out that there is strength when you guys work together. So what I asked that person, you go back to the drawing board, okay? Rebuild trust. Trust is end. Just friendship. Marry a friend. Like Timothy said, you guys have to deliberately build friendship. Friends have things they do together. Friends have common interests. So look for things that are not necessarily common interest, where both of you contribute, that will allow you to build the friendship. Okay, be involved in a non-for-profit project where both of you will volunteer. It will break down the walls. Then you will see the strength of your partner. You will see the strength of him or her. And then you will begin to then make sure you deliberately get his or her view. Now, sir, if it's that person, I want to beg you, your wife, she's not a weak vessel. No, I'm just telling you the truth. She has strength. She's a partner on this journey. She's a partner on this journey. So I want to advise every man, if you're not taking advantage of your spouse, you are right now, you are limiting yourself. I'll end with this story. One day, 2 years ago, I came back home. Our kids were in school, and my wife locked the door. She went upstairs, and I thought the key was not with me, so I was looking for the key. So I pressed the bell for 30 minutes. I pressed the bell, knocked the door. I was shouting. I was knocking the door. She couldn't hear because she was in the bathroom upstairs. I pressed and pressed. This story I've told her already. I've told her this story before. I pressed the bell. After about 30 minutes of frustration, I just mistakenly put my hand on my trouser and I saw the key in my trouser. I brought out the key and I know how God speaks to me. And I just had a small voice. There are some things in your life you're not using. Number one of it is your wife. You're not leveraging her. I've told that before. I've told that story before many times.
You don't want to tell me so that my head will not swell, because I always tell you that the woman is Ezra and the Holy Spirit.
So
liken to the Holy Spirit.
So what I'm saying.
So God had to show you Pepe.
And I will never forget that experience, that the key was in my pocket.
Yeah.
I pressed the bell, I shouted, I was frustrated, walked around. I did not, I'm sure neighbors were wondering, what's wrong with this guy? I was outside. Apparently the key was always in my pocket. I didn't know.
That's why some men have the key in their house.
So
don't use it.
So I want to beg every guy listening to me. And I've found victory if I'm just saying the truth, but I'm consciously walking away from that consciously. Get your spouse in that space. I do love, I have 1 or 2 businesses. I come back home, I'm serious. I just say, babe, I'm doing this, so what do you think? I'm doing this, what do you think? I'm serious, you are better together. I'm telling the truth, you are better together.
Stronger together.
You are stronger together.
Yeah. Let me put this to the woman. Why I'm saying this is, you know how we talk. Sometimes we are not very respectful in our tones. The way we speak, we want the person to learn. We are also not, we want to put it down. And let me tell you as a woman, if you have a coach that is a male coach, or you are big on pastors, or you are big on people that you look up to, and you come and you're singing their praises, your husband will hate you and hate them. Will hate, when I say hate, I'm not saying dislike, I'm saying hate. Hate you and hate those, without even knowing those coaches. Why? Because you give them the impression that those people are better than him. So even if he does not have a self-esteem problem, imagine you not married to that person, coming to say, hey, this person did this. The person will not even want to listen and not want to learn. You will shut that person down. So how have smart women, including myself, done it? That today people say, how is your husband doing this? How is that doing that? I said there is a way that seemeth right to a woman. And thereafter, you have destruction if you are not careful. I used to think if I come home and say, listen, this. No. Sometimes it's at their time. It's at their season. Sometimes it's the way you put it. I read a book. I leave it out there. So, you need to read this book. I see a message of the person that maybe we've spoken about. I send it YouTube. They will go and learn on their own. And the next time you send such a message, they will want to join. And gradually they'll be drawn. Sometimes you have to pray. Sometimes you have to, if he believes in mentoring, talk to the mentor to say, oh, he needs to grow up in this area. Can you have a conversation with him on this area? Some men still believe Jesus Christ is their mentor that they've never seen or anything. So it's not a bad thing. But I'm just saying, a lot of men are going through needless pain because they are not making use of Ezra. If you look at the root word, wife, helper, it's Ezra, the help they have. And every time I tell my husband, this is likened to the Holy Spirit, we say, it's like blasphemy to him. Yeah. But right now he has calmed down because he has seen the difference.
I have a new name for my wife now. Yeah. She's my PA.
Not personal assistant. So I say, I won't take that from you. I'm not your personal assistant. I don't want to be waiting on you. You now say, no, it's your prophetic assistant. I say,
she's my
I will take that.
Assistant.
So when I speak prophetically, you listen. You listen. So for that person, please know how you go about it. The man will be ready to learn if you are open to talking to him about learning respectfully and know his learning style. Is it through a book? Drop the right book there. Is it through video or audio? Drop materials there. And then just say, let's discuss it. And if he's not ready to discuss, send email, send WhatsApp, whatever it is, and say, oh, please, it would be good if you pay attention to this. I would like if you do this. We can discuss it later. That will help. I'm sure that person will see the difference eventually.
Okay. Thank you so much. It's been a blast. Thank you, Tim Umobi. Thank you, Tim Aleshi. It's been a very great one. And I've learned so much, and I know that everybody who has tuned in has learned so much. And I think you should all share the link to this because what life is about is knowledge. And what we are all trying to do here is those ones that have done it and done it well. Because what we have is the reports of the divorces, the separations, but we don't have the news of the great marriages in there. But that is the weird part of the thing. Those in real good marriages feel no need whatsoever to display to the outside world because they know what they have, and filled barrels do not make any kind of noise. So please share this, help somebody, and let's make other marriages better. Okay, no more questions. Please direct it to both Team Election and Team Wobi personally. But I would like to say, who else is observing the way that Dinma has been looking at Nedum? And yes, I have seen that. This is a Love-A-Thon, and that's what it should be. It looks like she was kissing in 2 seconds. That's how she has been that thing all through. And I know that all men here are jealous, looking for how their women look at them that way. It is simple. If you want to be a king, make her your queen. And if you want to be a queen, make him your king. It is simple. That's what they've told us tonight. So we are going into next week immediately. Next week, we have another wonderful episode for you. We are going to have Fighting Together, Weathering the Storms. We're going to have Tim Inge and Tim Rich with us next week, and it promises to be a ball because we are having Amina Yusuf Ali, one of the very seasoned and a very respected colleague of ours, moderating next week. So do not miss it at all. Go to YouTube for the recordings. Please find out. You will see that all your answers that we're putting to them are just variants of the ones you probably did not ask. So before we go, you know that this beautiful couple, Tim and Wobi, have 4 amazing children with all their names starting from K. So to say goodbye for us today, we are bringing on K1, the first one. Of course, it's Ochuko to say bye for us. Ochuko, where are you? Hello. Let's say goodbye and leave those very kind people to get on with their wonderful evenings with their families. My son has picked a few times too. What are you guys doing over there? I'm like, oh, their marriages are older than you. Don't you just pick over here. Where are you? You want to say hi? You want to say hi to everybody? Yeah, good evening, everybody. It's just a 30-year-old. The marriages are older. Okay? Because Sochukwu is here. Over to you.
Hi.
Hi, good evening.
Hello, everyone.
How are you doing?
I'm doing fine, thank you.
Yeah.
I want to thank everyone that has joined us this evening for this webinar on behalf of the TeamDinmaNedum Nation, to the moderator, Mr. Deji, the Egbos for their testimony, the guest couple, Team Election, and everyone that participated and attended to make this evening successful. We appreciate your support. This evening has actually been really interesting. I think what stood out to me was when the Egbos talked about their first retreats they had and the book that they were given and how they still use it. It was just a really beautiful memory, and it just tells us how something so little can go on to be really impactful in our life. Yeah, and that was really beautiful. This whole session was just very enlightening. Yeah.
Thank you so much, K1. And I know that these lessons are going to be in your mind, preparing for your own life, because learning about marriage starts from right now and before observing your parents. Yeah, very good. So that is the show for tonight. Thank you, everybody, for coming around. I know we all learned stuff. I know that we all have things to go forward with in our lives. Make your notes, keep your notes, join us on the YouTube channel to see what we can do. Don't forget, Go ahead, love each other. Thank you for joining us on this Love-A-Thon, and it's a night for us. Good night.
Thank you. Good night. Congratulations.
And see you next week.
That's it.